I'll never call off. Fourth quarter pressure, back of the jersey, double sevens. No matter how many times, I'll never get tired of that reference. Hall of Fame for dirt, we love you with a deep reverence.
Hi, this is Luka Doncic.
Hi, I'm Kyrie Irving.
And you're listening to the Mavs Step Back Podcast.
They waiting on my fall off, I'll never call off. Fourth quarter pressure, back of the jersey, double sevens. No matter how many times, I'll never get tired of that reference. Hall of Fame for dirt, we love you with a deep reverence. Backcourt nasty, I wonder who gon' check him. Cuban did his thing when he went and got number 11. I still got his picture on my wall at 707. Feel synonymous with Kyrie, how we both train with aggression. Competition obsolete, trying to breathe life into my dreams. I'm so tired of sleep, still got some work from last season that was incomplete. So hungry for redemption, thank my boys, just might overeat. Like Luka with his three, if I'm hit, my mic is prone to overheat. I pride myself the most, I'm 22 and my folks proud of me. I took the harder way since I was 10, was no surprise to me. A step back, Mavs blowing up was no surprise to me. And I'm speaking honestly. 7.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Drew Johnson. You can find both of us on Twitter, X formerly known as Twitter, at Dalton_Trigg. You can find my guy, DJ, at Coach Drew 33. Guys, the Mavs got their biggest win of the season on Sunday night. They played the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's the third game of a season-high 7-game homestand. The Wolves, they're the top team in the West. The Mavs were previously 0-2 against the Timberwolves, but you know they weren't at full strength during those matchups. And the last time they played them in Minnesota, it ended up being closer than what people expected. But the Mavs didn't have Luka or Kyrie. Well, they had Luka and Kyrie for this one tonight at American Airlines Center, and it ended up being a great game. The Mavs, they led by 9 going into the fourth quarter. They let that slip. They were down by 6 with under 5 minutes to go in the game, and then Kyrie took over in that fourth quarter. Luka, he had some big plays in the third quarter especially. I mean, he had a good game overall, but this was by far the Kyrie show, in my opinion. So the Mavs, they pull out a clutch win. The final score was the Mavs 115-108 over the Timberwolves. The first real signature win of the season, in my honest opinion. So Kyrie, he ended up with, let's see here. How many points did Kyrie Irving have? Let's see. 35, yeah. Kyrie had 35, Luka had 34, so they had a very nice combination of 69 points between the two. Nice. And Kyrie, coming into this game, he had a 3-game streak of getting 9 rebounds. He had 8 rebounds against a team that has Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. Like, what? And what is he doing? Yeah. Just gosh, crazy stuff. I mean, what's your initial reactions watching that?
They're just huge, man. They're huge. They're athletic. You know, there's a reason why they've been so successful this year. They're finally figuring it out. And, you know, they're not just athletic, they're skilled too. You know, I know everyone likes to talk down about Karl Anthony Towns, but you'll be hard pressed to find more skilled bigs than him in this league. You know, personality aside. But again, massive win by the Mavericks here. You get a quality win against one of the best teams in the league, and I think this is a really good measuring stick for how good this team can actually be whenever everyone is healthy and everyone is clicking together.
No Derek Lively tonight.
Yeah,
like, that's the big. And look, we give Dwight Powell a lot of grief. And, I mean, he's a great dude. We've all discussed that. You know, he's worthy of a roster spot. We just wish he wasn't relied on as much as he is sometimes. But
Mhm.
have to give credit where credit is due. He had a pretty decent game tonight. With Lively out, they had to rely on him as the starting center. In 28 minutes, he had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. And he shot 3 of 5 from the field. So really good stuff from Powell, and no turnovers either. So,
Yeah.
I mean, in the plus minus, he was tied with Tim Hardaway Jr. for the highest, being a plus 14 on the night. So shout out to Dwight Powell for having a good game when we needed it the most.
Mhm.
So
100%. The issue with Powell is he's just limited because of his, physical attributes, but you couldn't ask for a better effort, honestly.
And if you're watching on YouTube now, you're seeing these full game highlights just from, I say full game, it's really just Luka and Kyrie's highlights. But I mean, you can just see, even though the Mavs didn't build on that big lead that they're going to have in this fourth quarter, it's coming up here. They were good enough to keep them at arm's length. They didn't let it get too far away from them. And it was just incredible to watch Luka and Kyrie play off of each other the way they did, because there's been so much talk about, can they coexist? Can they coexist and win meaningful games? This was a prime example of it, and you can see the defensive improvement overall from the team, from where they were last year. When they played the Timberwolves last year, Kyrie also went off in the fourth quarter of that game, but the Mavs ended up losing. It was a high scoring. It was in the 120s. So just a really good overall effort. I think if the Mavs get later on in the season and they go on a run, I think they're going to look back at this particular game and be like, hey, this is what started this run for us. We were getting healthier. We got a big win against the best team in the Western Conference. And I think this, like you said, it's a measuring stick for them. I think this is one that you look at and it's like, okay, all right, that maybe they can be one of the best teams in the Western Conference. So huge win for the Mavs. Obviously, just because they got a big win doesn't mean that their roster is perfect. We both believe that they still need to make, a trade or two to kind of bolster their roster going into the second half of this season and down the stretch into the playoffs. But, still, it was great to see them get this win and improve their record to, I think it's now 22-15 on the season. So they're back at that season high mark of being 7 games over 500. So good stuff. It's a good way to start out the homestand. Like I said, it's a 7-game homestand. Looking ahead from here, the Mavs will take on the Memphis Grizzlies. They played well against the Grizzlies, except for the one game Luka missed. They did lose that game. And John Morant is back. So they have more of an offensive punch now than they did before, but it's a home game. You got Luka, you got Kyrie. I have a feeling that Derek Lively is going to be back for that game. So I think that's one you can win. That's on Tuesday this week, by the way. Thursday, you got the New York Knicks, who are playing great basketball since trading for OG Anunoby. Jalen Brunson's doing his thing. Julius Randle, who always kills the Mavs, is killing everybody right now. he's a scoring machine and getting to the free throw line whenever he wants. So that's going to be a tough matchup. And then you've got 2 home games, one on Saturday and then one a week from tomorrow, next Monday, both of those against the Pelicans. So it's not an easy stretch of games to end this homestand, but they're playing at home. They're playing good basketball. The defense has seen an uptick, and I think there's, some momentum to build on here for the Mavs now, having won 3 in a row and then having the next 4 at home and no back-to-backs. They have a day of rest in between every one of those games. So I think this could be a good thing for the Mavs going forward. But what do you think about this upcoming stretch, specifically against Memphis next and then the Knicks after that?
I think that if we get Lively back from Memphis, that would improve our chances drastically, simply because a lot of what Memphis likes to do is get to the rim, specifically Ja Morant, who is the catalyst for everything offensive for Memphis. Um,
Yes. He's
he's
been
one
great since he came
I
back
mean,
from that suspension.
dunk on everybody. So I mean, you get your prime shot blocker back. Um, and honestly, I think he's our defensive anchor. As a rookie, I think he's our defensive anchor. So getting him back, I think, is the key to really a lot of things for us. I mean, it's what we talked about last year, not having that. So I think bringing Lively back will be a major key for us. As far as just the whole 7-game stretch, I like the fact that we don't have anything back to back. I like the fact that we have a day in between each individual game. That goes a long way with player recovery. And as
Right.
we know, player recovery goes a long way with player performance. So, I think that that's kind of an underrated aspect of all this. Go ahead.
One thing I was going to say, it just popped into my mind as I was scanning over. I was watching some highlights. I was watching the ending stretch of that game, the last couple of plays, and we've given Luka and Kyrie their props. We gave Dwight Powell his props. Another guy we need to give props to is Derrick Jones Jr. And before I do that, I need to make a correction from earlier. Dwight Powell did not score 14 points. I was looking at the NBA.com box score. He did not score 14 points. That was his plus minus. He had 9 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, was 3 of 5 from the field. But still great
Yeah.
game from Powell, given his limited minutes and his production. So, but Derrick Jones Jr., he's a guy that needs some props in this one too, because he didn't shoot the ball well from 3. He was only 1 of 6, but he stayed after it. He was not afraid of Gobert at the rim at all. He attacked him all night long and got some fouls. Got to the free throw line 5 times, went 3 of 5 from the stripe, and he had 10 rebounds. So 12 points and 10 rebounds for Derrick Jones Jr. And he had 3 blocks on the night too. He had a huge rebound. So the Mavs were up 3 there at the end. It was 109 to 106. And Karl Anthony Towns shot a 3 to try and tie it. And it was a long rebound. Like, it hit off the rim, and it was one of those that anybody could have gotten. And Derrick Jones Jr. flew up, full extension with that incredible vertical he's got, secured the rebound, and then on the following possession for the Mavs, he ended up cutting through the paint and throwing down a massive dunk to put the Mavs up 5, which essentially sealed it. I mean, the Timberwolves still ended up getting another bucket before the game was over, but it didn't matter. The game was over at that point. So shout out to Derrick Jones Jr. for being resilient, not having a great shooting game. He was wide open on pretty much all of those 3-pointers he took. Only went 1 of 6, but he stayed with it. He did the little things on defense, and then he got a little redemption there at the end with that big dunk. So it's always good to see, a guy like that having something like that pay off for him at the end. I thought he did really well, and he continues to be a great value signing for the Mavs. He's been awesome.
Yeah, no, Derrick Jones, since the day, like, his day one in the league, he's always been one of the best athletes, I think, end-to-end athletes, at least in the league. An insane vertical, and he's able to utilize that and length. Really, it kind of makes him a little bit of a 7-footer killer, right? I mean,
He really does, yeah.
So, and what makes him so effective, though, is his motor. He is a maximum energy, maximum effort guy. And as long as that motor's going, he's going to make an impact, even if he's not scoring. And I really think that's how you value him, is how much of an impact is he making just in other areas of the game, defensively,
Right.
it just generating energy. His teammates love to play with him. You can see it on the floor. So, no, I'm with you. I think that was a big time pickup for us.
You want to hear a hilarious stat that Dwight Powell fans will love?
What's that?
In the fourth quarter, so I'm looking at the advanced stats here. In the fourth quarter, Dwight Powell had in 8 minutes and 53 seconds, he had an offensive rating of 105.3, and he had a defensive rating of 63.2.
Oof.
What? He had a 42.1 net rating in that fourth quarter, which was by far the best of anybody who played any minutes in that fourth quarter. Just insane stuff there. I was just looking for, I was thinking, as good as Kyrie was, I was thinking, maybe he had a insane offensive rating or something. It was only 96. And then you just look at it, and then Dwight Powell just boom right at you. So, or kapow, as Mark Followill likes to say.
It always seems to be the case with him. It's like just some obscure stat just hits you in the face for Dwight Powell. Like, I don't know.
And that's hilarious too, because Dwight Powell always gets hit in the face. He got hit in the face tonight. Every game he gets hit in the face. That's a Dwight Powell staple. That was incredible though. Like, I mean, if you look at something like that, it's like maybe he really was the difference in this game.
Maybe
even though Luka and Kyrie were incredible and combined for nearly 70 points. But look,
in all seriousness, every little thing matters. Whenever it comes
does.
Every little thing matters, all the way from the 30-point scores to the people who, do something for some obscure stat. Everything matters. Everything adds up. So,
and I love that this team, sometimes, we talked about it in a previous game. I forget the last one. It was before these last two Portland games, but we were kind of talking about how we didn't think Derrick Jones Jr. should keep getting the ball passed to him because he was having such a bad night shooting the ball.
Yeah.
Well, looking back on everything, I mean, I kind of like the way that there is a overall trust between everybody on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's not shooting the ball great, they're still going to give it to him and motivate him. It's like, hey, you're going to hit the next one, shoot it. I mean, I kind of like that the more I think about it, because, that even if it's not with the 3-point shot, that's still going to give a guy confidence to go out and do the little things too, because you have the ultimate confidence from your teammates. So I love that from this Mavs team. I love the fact that, not just Derrick Jones Jr., but Dante Exum. He's been out for the last handful of games, and he's been a huge piece to this team this year. So the Mavs continue to get things done while being undermanned. And I think that, like I said, this could be the start of a special run, given that this is the longest homestand of the season. And then once they get past this homestand, you have a 2-game road trip, and you play the Lakers and Golden State Warriors, two teams that you're very capable of beating, because those teams are they are not the teams that the Lakers are not the team that made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. I thought they peaked last season, and so far they've proven me right. And then the Golden State Warriors are very far detached from that dynasty team that everybody was so fearful of every time you played against them. So Mavs are in good shape, man. I think tonight just felt good. It felt like, the Mavs, they've kept their heads they've kept their heads above water, but they hadn't had that signature win against a really good team. And now, they can't say that anymore. And not only are the Timberwolves the number one team in the West, they were the number one team in clutch games coming into this game. They were 11-2 on the season in clutch situations, which is a game that's within 5 points with 5 minutes or less in the game. And that's what this was tonight. So now the Timberwolves are now 11-3, and the Mavs are 12-5 in clutch situations. So great stuff. And that, when you have a Hall of Famer like Kyrie Irving, who's known for scoring in the fourth, that tends to help.
Yeah, 100%.
Stat. But look, guys, that's going to do it for this game recap. Initially, before the events of tonight happened, I was talking with DJ, and we had, some big trade stuff planned. But given how big of a win it was and how much there was to talk about, we're like, you know what? No, this is going to take this pod is going to let the game have the spotlight, and then we're going to come back and, talk to you about some conspiracy theory stuff. I know. Look, the Mavs need a upgrade at the starting four. I don't know if LeBron James is going to be that guy, but let's just say we have a really good theory for it. So, if you subscribe, if you listen to, even if you don't subscribe, and this is your first time listening to us, hit that subscribe button because you're going to like what we have to say. And even if you don't like LeBron, you have to at least admire the spitballing that we do and the piecing together certain things to make it work. So not just that, but we have some stuff going on that makes us think that the Mavs and Nets might be getting ready to make a trade before the deadline in about a month. So guys, appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday evening, or if you're listening to this, it's probably Monday morning, and we'll see you next time. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, guys.